Welcome to Starter Pack. All right, today we're diving into, is .NET faster than Python and overall better? So we're going to dive into this hot debate because, spoiler alert, yes, .NET is better than Python. I know I'm going to get some flamers out there. They're going to come and throw stuff at me, but I'm here to prove it. Python is old, slow, and riding on its reputation, and the fact that it's what ML people use, so AI is riding on it right now. But .NET is blazing fast, versatile, and modern. Now, I'm going to show you some proof. I'm not just throwing out a supposition here. If you've been on the fence about which technology, you stick around because we're going to go into some of the myths, dive into performance comparisons. I've got a report to show you from a great author here to dive into some performance comparisons and show you why .NET is the superior choice for developers. So let's kind of settle this today and dive in. All right, welcome to Starter Pack. I'm Spencer Thompson. Here at Starter Pack, we train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. So today I'm bringing you that experience to the table and explain why .NET crushes Python in performance, scalability, and overall awesomeness. All right, so right out of the gate, Python can't even close to keep up with .NET in terms of performance, especially the latest stuff. And if you think .NET is old and slow and bloated and only run on Windows, man, get out of the 2000s and 10s and jump in with us here today because .NET is awesome. Benchmarks consistently show that .NET-based APIs outperform Python by significant margins, especially under heavy load. So why does this matter? Because speed equals efficiency. For developers, building large-scale applications shaving milliseconds off request times can make or break a user experience. I've built .NET applications on products that have sub 10 millisecond response time requirements, right? So while Python fans might argue that performance isn't everything, let's be honest, no one likes a sluggish app. And it's not just about sluggish. Performance is a big deal. I know a lot of people in 2024 say, we'll just throw more hardware at it. That's a terrible answer. Any engineer who would say that, I would just lambast pretty quickly. Python has been around since the early 90s, and it shows. While it's great for quick scripts and prototyping, its outdated architecture struggles to keep up with modern application demands. .NET 9 was just released last month. It's super fast, super awesome, and runs on everything. So don't give me that crap. Memory management, threading, and runtime speeds all pale in comparison from Python to .NET. And .NET has been streamlined, optimized, and the new framework is absolutely awesome. So sure, Python is easy to learn, and I actually debate that because I actually hate white space-based languages, but that simplicity comes at the cost of scalability. So for serious developers, .NET offers the tools to build applications that can handle real-world stresses. You notice most enterprises are using .NET. There's a reason. So while Python has its libraries, .NET boasts a comprehensive, unified ecosystem. From backend frameworks like ASP.NET to tools like Entity Framework and Dapper for data access, everything works together seamlessly. This makes development faster, debugging easier, and scaling smoother. Developers, if you've been frustrated by Python's patchwork of libraries, you'll find .NET's integrated ecosystem a breath of fresh air. So let's address the big elephant in the room. There's a myth that .NET is somehow bad or limited, or that it only runs on Windows. I run into this all the time. The misconception dates back to the early days when it was a Windows-centric framework, right? But those days have been long gone for literally a decade. Today, .NET is fully cross-platform, open source, and thriving. Majority of Azure is running on Linux. So developers, it's time to let go of outdated biases and set .NET for what truly is a robust, modern framework that delivers where it counts. Now, if your company has systems that aren't connected, let us help you out because here at Starter Pack, our specialty is connecting systems to help your company work like a well-oiled machine. So check out starterpack.com/Spencer because we can help you out. Now, one of .NET's biggest advantages is its scalability and its performance and speed. So whether you're building a simple website or a massive enterprise application, .NET has the tools to grow your needs. So with its simplified API, with its minimal API, you can write a one-page script that will work as a framework and still be as an API and still be secure, or you can build the next enterprise level application. We've built both. Python, on the other hand, starts to falter as applications grow more complex. For developers, this means fewer headaches if you're using .NET and more confidence in your code's abilities to handle increased speed. Now, let's dive into this report that I've been talking about here, because I don't like to just throw out my own suppositions. I want to show you some of these numbers because I think you guys are going to really love seeing some of this. So again, shout out to the author. I put his link down in the comments. Make sure you hit him up and give him some love, right? Because I definitely want to support great authors out there who are making this stuff possible. So created the same API in .NET and Python. Which one performs better, right? So he's got his Python versus C# here, right? So he's going to dive into this. And ultimately what they're doing is he's running a 5 factorial calculation and then wrapping it into an API. So the step is going to be write an API in C# using ASP.NET Core and write API in Python using fast API, which is the fastest Python library, right? So basic comparisons that he's going to do: basic load test, latency test, failure rate test, persistent connection test, and stress test. So again, he's using the minimal web API, so he's not even using like a crazy library or something. He's just using the minimal get, right? Like this is the whole code. So anybody who says that it's too much code to spin up, too much work to spin up. And I know in the past frameworks around .NET were really big. Now they're not. Like this is all it takes to get one simple mapped API. That's the word I'm trying to spit out here. Running, right? And then you literally do .NET Run. Now you'll notice this is a command line command, right? You can do this on Linux. It runs fantastic. I've been running all of my .NET applications on Linux for over a decade. Absolutely wonderful. Now he does pip install fast API. Code looks, relatively similar in size, although you'll notice no semicolons here. Sorry, it's a personal preference. I can't stand white space languages, and so maybe I'm showing my bias here. But to me, it's maybe it's because I learned in C# or C++ eras. But white space languages drive me crazy. Anyways, he uses this and then he runs this on this. Okay, now let's look at these comparisons, because these comparisons are where things get super awesome, right? So we did install Apache 2 utils. That's one of the other things. One of the great things about .NET is you literally run .NET Run, and it's going to run that API, that web API for you, and Kestrel will be off and running, right? Whereas with those, he's going to have to run the Apache, right? So he runs both of these, right? Oh, I think he was, so he's running both of these, and this one's running through Apache, then to Python, and this one's running just Kestrel, right? So the .NET results when he ran this, right? Let's look at these. So it run 100 requests, 200, up to 1,000, right? It finished 1,000 requests. So after 1,000 requests, your concurrency levels were, and I'm not going to take you through all these individual numbers again. You can read through all these because I'm just going to go down to the comparison, right? So he shows that he runs both of these. So let's just look at the comparison here, because this is crazy. So requests per second, 5,000 versus 3,000, right? Or versus 1,300, right? A 5x compared, like 10 faster on .NET. Time per second request, the mean, right? 1.89 milliseconds, 7.6 milliseconds on Python. Transfer rate, almost a full megabyte per second, 200,000 bytes per second. You got your connection time rate, 2 milliseconds, connection time rate, 8 milliseconds, longest request, 9 milliseconds, the longest request, 41 milliseconds. So he compares these here, right? Okay, so C# approximately 4 times faster. I did the math and said 5 times. Sorry, y'all. So approximately 4 times faster, right? And so approximately 4 times faster here. Now, on the request per seconds, time per request, C# again, 4 times faster, right, guys? You'll see a trend here, right? C# has significantly higher transfer rate, meaning it can handle more data throughput, right? Again, almost 4 times, little less than 3, or 3 plus, right? C# is more efficient in handling individual request connections, right? So you got 2 milliseconds versus 7, with 9 being the top and 41 being the top. Again, we're seeing a 5 to 7x differences. C# showed more consistent performance with minimal deviation, whereas Python shows spikes, especially in the longest request time. So now he does a simple load test on these two, right? Where he's measuring throughput and response time with high load tests, right? So .NET came across almost 3 times faster on requests per second, time per request 3 times faster, transfer rate 2.4 times, and this was under load. So if anybody says, well, but it can't do it at load or at scale, .NET kills it at scale is what this ends up showing you. He then runs a latency test. I mean, this guy, that's why I didn't reproduce this, is a lot of these I'll kind of do my own tests and stuff, but this guy does a fantastic job. So definitely shout out to the author here. Now, in the request per second, .NET became out 2.8 times faster, 2.8 times, like, it's pretty simple to see that .NET is just faster and everything. Python shows more variance, which you don't want to see variance. Variance and variability is terrible because even if you have something that's slower, you can plan around it, but the variances will kill you. So, he goes through a ton of different tests, so I would encourage you to go through and see this. But what you're just going to see is that Kestrel is going to run faster than even Apache on these. Now, C# with Kestrel is significantly outperforms Python with fast API and Unicorn and the highest benchmarks. Now, it's higher requests per second, lower time per request, better transfer rate, more consistent time connections. So, guys, I mean, the proof's in the pudding here, and it's not even just that. We're not even just talking about these. So everyone's like, oh yeah, but Python's easier. I totally disagree. I couldn't disagree possible because we can get into like type safety. Let's talk about type safety here for a second. Python's dynamic typing may be convenient for beginners at the beginning, but it's a total nightmare at large scale. Bugs can sneak in and wreak total havoc. If you're committing and a variable changes and suddenly it's being interpreted differently, in collaborative environments, .NET static typing ensures that your code is more reliable and easier to maintain because you can know it right at compile time. For developers building mission-critical applications, this is absolutely non-negotiable. .NET's evolution into cross-platform frameworks is a total game changer. So whether you're on Windows, Linux, Mac OS, or any other mobile platform, .NET now has you covered. Python, you can claim some versatility, but its performance issues and the ecosystem fragmentation often totally get in the way when you go cross-platform. I know running Python on Windows is a total headache. I haven't really run it. I mean, I've run it a ton on Linux, but like, I develop mostly on Windows. I mean, I'm going to be honest, and Python is a total nightmare for that. And .NET is a clear winner with its non-fragmented framework. Now, from Visual Studio's to JetBrains Writer, .NET offers some of the best development tools in the industry. Hands down, bar none. These tools make coding, debugging, and development a breeze. So while Python has its IDEs, they often lack the polish and power that .NET's ecosystem does. So developers, if you want to spend less time wrestling with your tools and more time actually building amazing things for your clients or your company, .NET's the way to go. Now, if you're scaling your tech stack and it feels overwhelming, Startup Hack's here to help. We specialize in optimizing and connecting systems so you can focus on what matters most. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer. Now, the .NET community is huge. It's one of the biggest. I know there's been a ton of hype train jumping into Python with all the AI. I get it. But like, in some cases, I've run small containers with Docker that will run Python for what it needs to do, the AI stuff. And then I'll wrap it with .NET because it's so much faster, or I'll offload that work, right? So .NET just has a huge community with tons of resources, forums, documentation, and the support of Microsoft, one of the largest and oldest technology kings in the system right now. So whether you're a beginner or an expert, you'll find the help you need. Python's community is large, but it's also super fragmented, making it really hard to find consistent and up-to-date and high-quality support. So for developers who value a strong support network, I really got to say that .NET has the edge. Now, security is another huge area where .NET shines. With built-in features like secure APIs, really secure releases that have long-term support and other things, the role-based access control and regular updates, .NET makes it easier to build secure applications. Python, while it's capable, often relies on third-party libraries that can introduce a lot of vulnerabilities. So developers, if you're going to use Python, be really careful. Make sure you know what you're using. With .NET, staying secure is much simpler. Now, cost efficiency. I know a lot of people tell me, oh, but .NET's more expensive to run. No, did you see those numbers I just gave you? You're going to be able to keep your hardware smaller by running on .NET. When you factor in performance scalability of .NET and the maintenance, .NET is going to be way more cost effective than Python. It's faster development cycles, fewer bugs, better tools, means lower cost in the long run. For entrepreneurs and developers, this is a huge win. And it's not hard to start up with .NET. Did you see that tiny little code snippet? You can build an API in less than like 20 lines of code. So the future is super amazing for .NET 2 because Microsoft is really heavily investing in .NET to ensure that it's continued growth and relevance. They just released .NET 9, super crazy fast. And I don't even think those benchmarks you were seeing were actually on .NET 9. I think those were on 8, which is 8 is the long-term support, the LTS. 9 is just released, and it has a shorter support cycle, but it's blazing fast, lower memory usage. A lot of people say, but the just-in-time framework and compilation, you just don't see that anymore. Python is popular, and I get it. It's growing really popular because of all the AI hype right now. But .NET is the old favorite that's not going to go anywhere. So developers, if you want to future-proof your skills, .NET is a framework to bet on. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm sure there's a lot of Python lovers out there who are throwing stuff at me. Throw away. I got thick skin. I can handle it. But let's talk today because here at Startup Hack, we love to have a great discussion. So make sure you like and subscribe. We also love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps. So if you know somebody who's looking to dive into development, or if you're looking to dive into development, hit us up at startuphack.com. We can also, and if your company needs some help, hit us up at startuphack.com/Spencer because we would love to help you out. So otherwise, we will catch you guys next time.
Want to become a software developer but don't want to spend 4 years in college and rack up massive student loan debts? Think you need technical expertise to get started? Welcome to Startup Hack, a better way to start your software career without student loans and years without income. One-on-one tutoring is included so you never get stuck and have guidance through the whole process. No technical experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace and in your own space. Startup Hack has worked with local state agencies in your area to make it so that qualifying students can get the program costs covered entirely and students can start earning while they learn.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and I completed the full stack development course offered by Startup Hack. One thing setting Startup Hack apart from any other coding bootcamp was the quality of one-on-one tutoring available. All of the projects that we did were challenging and thought-provoking, but left me feeling very accomplished and very prepared for my first job that I was offered just days after completing the program.
Hello, I'm Tom, and I completed the full stack development course offered by Startup Hack, and I must say that it was an excellent experience. The tutors is what set this course apart from others. They were knowledgeable, experienced, and always available to help provide me with guidance and support. Do not hesitate to take advantage of this affordable and efficient software development course.
Complete our 3-month coding bootcamp, gain hands-on experience, and land a paid internship. With 2 years of experience, on average, our graduates are making over $80,000 per year. The 3-month program includes technologies from Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. No debt, just a quick path to earning. Check out startuphack.com to code your future and